Welcome to our demonstration on BlueCat DNS Forwarding. There are two ways to configure forwarding. The traditional DNS forwarding in BlueCat Integrity, which is subject of this video, and the more sophisticated and intelligent DNS forwarding in BlueCat DNS Edge, which allows a much more granular control of DNS query routing. There are several reasons for using forwarding. It helps limit the number of servers and the bandwidth used when querying DNS servers on the internet. Additionally, caching on the forwarders increases efficiency. Forwarding in general can be used to reduce traffic to external DNS servers via internet. Forward first is the default and allows the DNS server to query other servers itself if the forwarder can't be reached. Forward only prevents the name server from using any other name server than the forwarder.
The forwarding policy option can be set at different levels: configuration, view, zone, block, or network. In this example, we set it at the view level. Now the server will try the configured forwarding targets first. Only if that fails, it will initiate a recursive query, starting with the configured root servers. By using the forward policy only, the server will only forward eligible queries to the specified targets. BlueCat Integrity allows to implement and adapt DNS forwarding in order to meet their specific requirements. In this example, we set it up using roles to create conditional forwarding. We configure the forwarding by setting up primary and secondary roles and then add forwarder roles. The IP addresses of the service interfaces of the primary and secondary will determine the list of forwarders. We will see that in named.conf after deploying the change. Once the change has been deployed, the forward zone in named.conf looks like this. One frequent use of the forwarding option is global forwarding. Global forwarding is often used for resolution of public internet resources. It is typically defined at the view level. This is how it looks like in named.conf. When set in combination with a forwarder role, the forwarding option contributes to the list of forwarders. We set the forwarding option to 10.20.30.40 by overriding the inherited forwarding option. After deploying, the list of forwarding targets in named.conf looks like this. More complex forwarding can be accomplished by using the transfer interface setting when specifying the forwarder role. Let's say we want BDDS1 to forward to non-BlueCat1 and 10.20.30.40, and BDDS2 should forward to non-BlueCat2 and 20.30.40.50. We add a forwarder role for BDDS1 and specify the server interface of non-BlueCat1 as the transfer interface. We execute similar steps for BDDS2. Now we add forwarding options, but make them server specific. After deploying the changes, the forward zone in named.conf looks like this for BDDS1 and this for BDDS2.
The order in which multiple forwarders will be queried by a name server is constantly recalculated using the smoothed round-trip time. The server with the currently lowest SRTT value will then be queried. The current SRTT value for each forwarder can be displayed by dumping and displaying the current contents of the name server cache.
When configuring the forwarding option, you can specify if queries for child zones are supposed to be forwarded or not. This is relevant for the primary and secondary zones. When the checkbox is checked, a primary or secondary DNS server will not forward queries for the child zones of the zones it is authoritative for. Instead, it will either follow the delegation, in case the respective child zone is delegated from the zone the server is authoritative for, or it will return an NX domain response. When disable forwarding for child zones is configured at the view level, it applies to all primary and secondary zones configured in that view. This is how it looks like in named.conf. In this example, the empty forwarder list will have the effect that all queries for records in child zones of mydomain.org will not be forwarded, but answered either by following the delegation, in case the child zone is delegated from mydomain.org, or it will return an NX domain response. When disable forwarding for child zones is not checked in the forwarding option at the view level, the empty list of forwarders is not set in the zone configurations. This is how it looks like in named.conf. As you can see, there is no empty list of forwarders. As a result, queries for child zones of mydomain.org are forwarded to the forwarding targets specified at the view level. This can be a valid scenario, but in many implementations, it's probably preferred not to forward queries for child zones.
This ends our demonstration of DNS forwarding with BlueCat Integrity. Be sure to check BlueCat Edge for more sophisticated and intelligent forwarding features.